Thank you for staying tuned. It is still the conversation here on Lagos Television, and today we are focusing on a subject that touches every aspect of our lives, and that is emotional stability and career development. In the fast-paced world where performance, deadlines, and economic pressures continue to rise, many people are silently struggling to stay emotionally balanced while trying to build meaningful careers. I know a lot of people will be able to relate with this topic. How do we manage our emotions, stay productive, and still grow professionally without burning out? That is a question that I'll be throwing to our guest this morning, and many more questions will be coming. And to help us unpack this important conversation, we are joined by Dr. Pamela Udoka. She is a licensed clinical psychologist and employee assistance program practitioner. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Joy. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
And I love your hair.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get into our conversation for today. We're talking about emotional stability and career development. Before I get to the question I raised during my introduction, let's understand, or how do you define emotional stability? You're looking at it, you know, we are in Nigeria. This is our own domain. So how do you define emotional stability?
Thank you very much. Before we talk about emotional stability, we have to first of all understand what emotions are. When you say what are emotions, you know, they are natural psychological and physical responses, you know, to everyday event, everyday occurrence. So we manifest our emotions every day, every time anything happens, you manifest them. Now, for somebody to be emotionally stable, that person must first of all understand the emotions. Understand the emotions, manage them, and then respond accordingly. So for you to be stable, you must understand what the emotions are, manage them, and then respond. Especially when you are in a conflict situation, when you're under pressure, and you manage them constructively, then you say that person is emotionally stable.
So are we still talking about emotional intelligence?
No, emotional intelligence, you apply it to be emotionally stable. Okay? So when you see a situation, for instance, you come into a room, there's conflict, you use emotional intelligence because you are emotionally stable, you can now apply your emotional intelligence, you know, in that situation.
So it goes hand in hand.
Yes, they go hand in hand.
And since we're talking about emotional stability and career development now, let's look at how these two, what do I call them? Let me call them pillars.
Yes.
How they work hand in hand, how being emotionally stable can help you do well in your career.
Okay. When you're emotionally stable, for instance, in an office, they say this particular staff is emotionally stable. That person can take feedback without criticism, without feeling antagonized. The person can manage conflict. When there's crisis in the office, the person can manage it. The person takes professional decisions and does not react emotionally. Okay? There's a clear demarcation between professional decisions and emotional decisions. You don't cause more harm instead of solving issues. So that person is emotionally stable. That's why that person can take such decisions with a clear mind.
All right. While we were talking before we came back on air, I raised one question. So I'm going to ask now. It is believed, you know, in our society that, because again, the question is many professionals appear successful but are not emotionally stable. And especially for women now. If this is wrong, please correct me, and you need to debunk if it is wrong. It is believed that women who are career-driven, you know, are not emotionally stable or do not have happy homes. Please, I would like you to talk about this.
Emotional stability is not gender-based. So it's not an issue of, oh, because she's a woman and she's career-driven or she's a high flyer, that doesn't mean imply that she will not be emotionally unstable. No. Emotional stability is individual based, whether you're a man or you're a woman. So let's debunk that first. You know, it's not gender based. But for you to now apply emotional intelligence while being emotionally stable is for you to know that, let's say you're a woman and you're career driven, you have your official things in the office to do. Remember that you have a home to run. So that's what we're talking about, work-life balance,
Yes.
or work-life integration, because you have to integrate your home and your office. So the emotional intelligence comes in there. So if you're not emotionally stable, you cannot manage your career, you cannot manage your office. It's one person. It's one mind, it's one body, it's one nervous system that you operate with both at home and in the office. So you don't say, oh, I'm going to the office, I'm leaving this brain behind and take away another brain. No, it's the same thing. So if you're emotionally stable, you're emotionally stable. Then you can apply clear decisions, clear actions, both at home and in the office. Okay, so it's not a case of, oh, because she's a woman, she's emotionally stable. No, it's the individual that matters.
While I was doing my introduction, there was a question I raised there. How do we manage our emotions, stay productive, and still grow professionally? So it's a big question mark. So let's start with one, stress. While I was asking one of the questions, I said, this is Nigeria. We know what is applicable to us here, and stress is one big factor that can affect one's emotional stability. When you look at the stress you go through coming to work, you stay in traffic. When you look at the financial stress you have to go through, paying of rent, school fees, and all that, and how this impacts one being emotionally stable.
Okay, you know, when we started, I defined emotions as natural and psychological responses. You know, your mind tells you that this is how you should react, or this is what's happening. Okay, now when you encounter stress, or when you go through stress, you have emotions that, you know, manifest. Some people cry, some people are burnt out, some people are overwhelmed, you know. Some people just start giggling and laughing because they don't even know what to do. The first thing you like the way you're saying, the first thing you do is like, you take a pause. You take a pause and then name the emotion.
Okay.
When you name it, when you understand it, then you can manage it. Please, let me say this now. You can't control your emotion. You can't control it because remember I say it's a natural occurring phenomenon. It's a psychological thing. You can't control, but you can manage it. You can manage it when you name it. I am stressed out. This stress is making me angry. So I know that it's anger now that is emotion I want to manifest. Then you ask yourself, how do I express this anger? Do I just smile? Do I take a deep breath and relax? Do I slap somebody? Do I strangle somebody? Do I, you know, so when you can name it, then you can now manage. You know, I mentioned anger because we have something we call dysfunctional anger. When you are so stressed out, maybe in traffic, you mentioned traffic, when you're in traffic and you're angry, another road user just cuts in front of you or honks, and then maybe you take out your wheel spanner or whatever and hit that person, and the person dies. Nobody will start reflecting, oh, you were stressed. That's why nobody will, that's not justified. You have expressed emotion in a way that you should not have, if only you had named it and managed it. Okay? So we wouldn't say because you are stressed out, you can now commit murder. No. Okay?
Okay, let's look at the dangers of not, because from what you have said now, the dangers of not managing stress or dealing with stress when it occurs.
When you know you're stressed out, that's what we talk about support systems. You are stressed out. Either you take a break from the office, you see a therapist, for instance, you know, or talk to trusted family members. Just express yourself. It's not the time to accuse your partner or accuse your boss or accuse. You know, you express how you feel. Oh, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm feeling tired. I can't cope with this anymore. Then they will take decisive decisions to help you because they are emotionally stable, hopefully. They can now look and say, okay, they take that decision with a clear head. Oh, she needs a break. She needs to, You need to sleep. Sometimes it's just lack of sleep. So we don't go to bed on time. We wake up early, and then we are in traffic, and then we, all these things just have a way of piling up. So if you take a step back and say, okay, I think I need to sleep more. I think I need to just talk to somebody. I think I need to even play music. I need to just be aware of what is even making me so stressed out. Okay? And then you now, remember what I said? You manage the symptoms, and then you can thrive.
Still dwelling on the stress now. When one doesn't deal with the stress level, it will affect one's productivity at work.
Of course.
And in today's world now, do you think that the leadership of workplaces, organizations really understand how important tackling stress is and how it impacts the productivity of its workers?
Thank you so much for that question. That's why I'm here as employee assistance practitioner. Most organizations, and I also want to commend the few that engage our services as employee practitioners in their organizations. Most employees do not take cognizance of this aspect of the staff's life. All they want is for the staff to meet the target. When they do appraisal, the person scores. They don't want to know, or they don't care, or they don't realize that this staff also has a life outside the office. And issues outside the office affect this staff, and the staff brings it to the office and is expected to excel. Remember I said it's one brain, it's one mind, it's one body. So if the employees realize that for them to get maximum performance from this staff, they must consider the staff's emotional stability, they must consider the staff's life outside the office. And they handle that either engaging EAP practitioners, clinical psychologists to train their staff, to make them understand that, oh, we want you to do well, but we care about you as a human being. So when they do this staff will now understand and appreciate their employee and want to give in their best. So even as I speak, we have organizations who refer staff. Maybe, they have this program where the staff will now say, oh, I need help. Some have them in-house, some have consultants like people like us. So they refer, and we assess, counsel, do therapy when necessary, to bring the staff back to some level of balance, to make the staff operate maximally, both at home as an individual and at work as an individual as well. And then this staff will not be able to relate not only with herself or himself as an individual by managing the emotions, can also relate well with colleagues, can be a better team player, okay? And of course, everything gears towards the high performance of the organization as a whole.
Okay, every organization has the admin and HR department.
Yes.
I'd like you to align what the HR department should be doing.
Yeah, HR deals more with the employees, and I want to believe it depends on the organizational culture and structure. Okay. Some lump admin as HR, some have HR, some have, it depends on what they call it, but there should be a department or a unit that is just focused on employee issues. So when an employee is not doing well, you have checked the appraisal, maybe the person used to do very well and there's a drop. It's the duty of HR to observe that this staff, something is going on, they might not know what. And then if they have the EAP service, then they can now suggest that the staff takes advantage of that service. And of course, there's one thing I also must mention here. Organizations, even the HR, should stop expecting or should not expect a formal report about a staff, except there are some things going on with that staff that have legal implication, okay? Or have an an inkling to the staff safety or to a colleague's safety or the safety of the entire organization, then it behoves the EAP practitioner to make such a report. But if it just has to do with individual and personal things, they are confidential to that staff, and we deal with it as such. Okay, so the staff is taken care of, you know, professionally.
Welfare, top notch.
In fact, you got it. Everything concerning that staff is handled professionally. All the HR needs to know is the outcome in terms of performance of this staff after the person has gone through the EAP program. You understand? So, but writing, oh, she came here with this headache, and you know, her husband is beating her, this. No. Such details are confidential. So that's why I want to encourage staff to take advantage, if they have such services, take advantage. There's a confidentiality clause, okay? Even though the service is for the individual staff, but we practitioners know that the staff is a priority. The organization is also prioritized, but there's confidentiality, and we owe that to the staff first, okay? We just give the HR information, general information, you know, about the staff, but nothing confidential. So you won't go and say, so this staff is, no, we don't do that.
Okay, we've talked about stress. Another thing that I also want us to talk about, anxiety, not feeling enough or not doing well, and how that also affects the emotional stability of career-driven individuals.
You see, there's, as a clinical psychologist, there's something we call, you know, just a general anxiety disorder. Okay, there are different types of it, but when an individual is anxious about certain things, maybe there's a project in the office, and this individual feels inadequate to handle. Remember, they always have timelines, they always have targets, you have to report this, and this individual feels inadequate, feels overwhelmed, you know, or maybe feels that the time to deliver the project is short. And then the individual also has this tendency to procrastinate. Remember I said it's an individual thing. It's not whether he's, no, it's an individual thing. All these things, now, if this staff feels, I cannot deliver on this project, and develops anxiety, if that anxiety is not managed, the staff will break down. And they will not say, oh, because the staff has broken down. When I mean break down, I mean mentally, you know. Because the staff has broken down, the project will stop. Pardon me, even if that staff drops dead, that project will continue. That's what I'm talking about. Self-care, self-awareness. You know that you are feeling a particular way. You might not put a name to it, you know, because you don't understand. But there's a way you feel. You know that you're not feeling normal. You know that
something is not
wrong. Something is not just right. You know. So that's why I talked about talking to a trusted colleague, a trusted support system at home, seeking out a therapist, talking to your HR in case you have EAP service. Okay, because anxiety is such I don't want to use the word terrible, but for lack of a better word now, it's a terrible thing, because the person might also develop high blood pressure from being anxious. And if it's not managed, we all know how that ends up.
All right. Let's talk about our culture and how it relates to putting pressure on us emotionally, especially for the women now. We talk. And also for the men too. Let's not look down, because the men also have that pressure of, oh, you must provide for the family. You must meet deadlines. You can't cry. Okay, let's talk about men and how. Okay, let's talk about men. The burden put on their shoulder just because you are a man. You have to deliver. You have to provide, and also considering the economic situation that we have right now, and how that can also affect a man's emotional stability at the workplace.
You know, we all keep talking about this economy. Do you know there are people who are thriving in this economy?
Oh, absolutely.
It's horrible It is bad. It is not like years ago.
The rich are
We
getting
all
richer.
know. But there are people who are thriving. It's just knowing what to do, how to do it, legal things to do. Okay? And talking about, and of course, praying that God touches it for it to excel. Talking about pressure for men, you know, it brings us to maybe what we call cultural psychology. The way we are nurtured in our environment has a lot to play. If we are nurtured in an environment where, because you are a man, you don't do any house chores, because you are a man, you are served. You now grow up with that mentality and get a job, and then a woman is your boss. You see there's a conflict. You'll be like, Madam, I'm a man. No? He won't work in the workplace.
He's an African man.
I'm an African man. I'm a Nigerian man. I'm supposed to be... Nah. Okay? So that pressure or that nurturing that, oh, the boys must not do this, the girls must not do this, that mentality should change. They are all children. Remember I said that emotions are psychological responses. It does not take cognizance of a boy child or a girl child. The boy child you are protecting at home and giving certain privileges because of his gender will go outside and meet the same stresses, the same stressors. How will this child cope? How will this child manage? Is it every time he runs back home? Okay, so we have to understand that this child is a child growing up in a particular environment, and give the child all the coping mechanisms, all the strategies to be able to thrive in the environment. You tell a boy child not to cry. Why shouldn't he cry? Something is paining him. Because he's not a man. He doesn't have tear ducts. He has tear ducts. We are talking about managing the emotions. Yes, you can manage your emotions, be you a male child or a female child. Something happens and you want to cry. You ask yourself, you know, okay, I want to cry now. Should I start screaming the whole of LTV8 premises down, or I go into a bathroom and cry and wash my face and come? You have cried. You didn't repress the emotion. Repression is also a thing.
It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry, whether you are a man, whether you are an adult man. It's okay to cry. Shed the tears. In fact, when you cry yourself and your wife is there and is hugging you and holding you and rubbing you, fine, but so things will occur from there. You understand? Somebody understands. Somebody shows you care. Somebody shows you I love you because you express emotion. But you repress it and you're forming what they call it, forming odogu. Meanwhile, you are in pains, psychological pains. You have to express yourself. For the women, it's not because, oh, you are a girl child, everything you will cry. Or they say because that she's crying because she's a woman. No, she's crying because she's expressing her emotions, and that's the only way she knows how to express it, except she is giving other strategies to express this emotion. But it does not mean, oh, because you are a woman, everything you cry. No. You are a bank manager, you are female, and then something happens to your figures. Will you sit down and cry? No. You ask yourself, hey, how do we do this? What happened? Who is dropping the ball here? You pick it up. Because you're emotionally stable, you can think clearly. Even in the midst of the chaos, it's not your gender that is thinking. It's your
brain.
Yeah, exactly. You give it to them. No, gender doesn't matter. Okay? So male, female, express your emotions, but understand it first. When you understand it, then you can manage it. Then you now, by managing it, you now decide how to express the emotion. And then the way you manage and the way you express it, over time, consistently, regularly, that shows how emotionally stable you are. So even in your office, they will say, go and give this thing to Dr. Pam. She can handle it. There's crisis in, we didn't know what. Where is Dr. Pam now? Where is she? Because they know she will sit down and appraise the situation and take a decisive situation, not be emotional. You give her feedback. She looks at it constructively and say, oh, this feedback, this person didn't mean to insult me. This is just the issue. and we have to tackle it this way. Not, oh, they are saying this because, no, now. It doesn't work that way. So you are clear, you're emotionally stable, and you can take decisions no matter the gender that you are.
That will also lead me to the question of parenting in today's world. Are we raising emotionally stable humans?
Are the parents themselves emotionally stable? You can't give what you don't have. If I'm not emotionally stable, I won't even observe emotional instability in somebody else, in any of my children. Do you understand? So you yourself, as the parent, ask yourself, I mean, okay, how do you know if you're emotionally stable? You ask yourself, something has happened. Are you aware? Am I self-aware? By self-aware, I mean, do I know what triggers me? Do I know what gets me angry? Do I know what gets me agitated? You know, we have to do what we call emotional hygiene. We think, about our day. What happened today? How did I handle it? Excuse me. Could I have could I have reacted in a different way? Could I have managed it better? So that when you encounter the same situation or a similar in another situation or another occasion, you will know how to react. And then as a parent or as an adult, you ground yourself. Where am I? Okay, I'm in the studio. Am I supposed to be screaming here? Am I supposed to be dancing when we are talking professionally about career and emotional stability? Okay, what sounds am I hearing? Where am I? I'm in the market, for instance. What am I supposed to be doing in the market? I came to the market to shop. When you are self-aware, when you are grounded about where you are, there are certain decisions, certain things you cannot do, and then you now think about the emotions that are coming through based on the experiences you are having. How am I supposed to react? When you understand all those things, you are in the office, you set boundaries and be able to give boundaries. When you understand all those things as a parent, then you can be able to be stabilized enough to see your child and say, young lady, why are you just crying? Why are you jumping around, for no reason? In your opinion, it's for no reason. But the person that is jumping around excitedly, something's exciting her. You understand? Or the boy is just staying there and you know that something has hurt him and he's crying or he wants to cry or he doesn't. Because you are emotionally stable, you can observe that in your children. Then you can now be able to apply what you know. If you don't know enough, you seek professional help. But for you to bring up emotionally stable children, you yourself must be emotionally stable or must understand what emotional stability is, be able to give it yourself or seek help for your child. There's something we call family therapy. You can call a therapist and entire family members sit down and you discuss issues and see where we have loopholes, as it were, and be able to manage it in the family. Okay, don't assume or make assumptions and just be taking one step at a time. Anything that happens, no, be intentional.
All right. I just remember the post I saw of a man who was dressed properly and was fighting with I don't know if he's a conductor. He passed his car and was fighting. That thing just flashed to me while we were talking
exactly.
now. But how important is it for us as individuals to set boundaries at the places of our works and even our family life?
Oh, it's very important to set boundaries. For instance, let me just use a very simple example. I enjoy hugging people. I don't know, it's therapeutic. I see that it's therapeutic for people I hug. I see that it tells the person, oh, I care about you. Whatever you're going through, you'll be fine. I've had encounters with victims or survivors of sexual abuse, for instance. Just the first hug, and the person breaks down and cries and tells you a lot of things. But that does not mean that if I'm in the workplace, for instance, I come in the morning and I'm, instead of going to sit down to do my work, I'm hugging 50 people. Do you understand? So you set boundaries. Yes, even though they know she enjoys hugging people, but she does not spread it around. I won't go to the market instead of buying the tomatoes I want to buy. I'm hugging the woman first. No. You set boundaries. You know what you like, but you set boundaries. Oh, don't hug at this time. When it's supposed to be tea break or coffee break or lunch break. You are supposed to have a kitchenette, for instance, for the offices I have. You know that you're not supposed to take it to your office or your table. You don't take it to it, because when you don't do what you're supposed to do, and there's a repercussion or a punishment for doing the right thing at the wrong time or in the wrong place, you didn't obey the boundaries that were set. There are some organizations that don't allow relationship between colleagues in the office. If you want to get married, one of you will leave the organization. Okay? In that case, you know, but you want to have an affair in the office openly. You did set boundaries. You want to come to the coffee and then you are, hello. No, that's not what you came there for. Some organizations that allow spouses to work, they know the boundaries they set. So we must set boundaries. Where there is no boundary, where there's no rule, there's no offense. But where there are boundaries, there are structures that are followed. The organization has set ways of doing things. You as an individual have set ways of doing things. So all these things are clear. And don't take anything for granted. Those boundaries also help when you're having meetings, for instance. You know that there is no emotional blackmail here. There's no negativity here. What we came here to do is to look at this project, see what is going wrong, see how we can reappraise the situation, see how we can deliver on the timelines. So coming there now to come and say, oh, I don't like the way Joy looked at me yesterday. She hugged me and I didn't want to be hugged. Joy greeted me, and that's not what we are here for. We have things to do, official things to do. So bringing in extraneous information or bringing extraneous variables that don't matter in the scheme of things, you are truncating the boundary, as it were, and it does not move anybody forward.
As we bring our conversation to a close now, what advice would you give to someone who feels emotionally drained? Would you advise for that individual to step back a bit?
Yeah, if you feel emotionally drained, if you feel emotionally overwhelmed, you feel you cannot cope any longer, and you feel it, most times when you feel this way, you feel alone. You feel the entire world is caving in on you. First thing, you step back. By stepping back, well, it can be also literally and physically taking a step back. But we mean take a break. Take a break. It's like you have driven a car over and over again. The car is serviced. I mean, the service engine now.
Yeah.
So you are a human being, you are also a machine. That stepping back means you need servicing. You need to take care of yourself. We're talking about self-care. Just taking 2 days off work, taking 1 week off work to stay at home.
Has to be genuine, Sha.
Yes, you know, it does not mean that you just want to run away from assignment from work, you know, because there are symptoms.
Okay.
You cannot just say you want to stay off work because you're overwhelmed. If you have EAP service in your organization, your EAP consultant will assess this person and suggest some days off.
Yeah.
And can also refer to other colleagues and other practitioners in the EAP field to check this person out, because sometimes it's not only psychological issues that is worrying this staff, that's making the staff overwhelmed. Sometimes it can be financial issues. I'm not a financial expert. So we have financial experts in the EAP practice. Sometimes this person needs psychiatric help. It does not mean the person is insane, because when I mention psychiatric now, some people think, you don't mad or you don't crazy. No. Sometimes we need psychiatric help, just like you go to see a doctor for physical ailments. You see a psychiatrist for mental illness. You see a clinical psychologist for mental illness. So if the situation has become so intense that just having a clinical assessment and psychotherapy is not enough, I feel this staff needs psychiatric assessment, I will refer to a psychiatrist, because we are all in the EAP practice. This psychiatrist will now also assess and give medication if need be. When the person has stabilized, we can continue our talk therapy. But the fact is, before you apply for such leave from the office, there must be a professional assessment to determine what the issues are. You might just be having malaria. They'll also give you permission to go and see a medical doctor and get your medication and get your treatment, rather. So everybody will be fine at the end of the day.
Everybody will be all right.
Everybody will be all right.
If there's one takeaway from today's conversation, is that taking care of your emotional well-being is just as important as building your professional skills. We must thank you very much, Dr. Pamela Udoka. So let me read this. I must read this now. She is a licensed clinical psychologist, a fellow of the Nigerian Association of Clinical Psychologists, and serves as the National Publicity Secretary, PRO of the association. She's the Vice President of Employee Assistance Professional Association of Nigeria and the lead therapist, Family Wellness Therapy Center in Lagos. Thank you so much. She's PhD. The doctor is PhD.
Thank you. It's PhD. Thank you. And my surname is Udoka. So my husband is watching now. Udoka, Akwa Ibom State.
Oh, I thought it was Igbo.
I'm Igbo, incidentally.
Okay.
But my husband is Akwa Ibom, so it's Udoka. I enjoy making these corrections. But we are all one Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you. All my people that are online, I see all of you.
Okay. We've been talking emotional stability and career development, and I believe that we have all learned something from this conversation today. The program continues shortly. Stay with us.